Seems like a week ago already that we went to the appeals court, um, Fifth District Court of Appeals out on Beach Street in Daytona. And basically, they presented the same argument that they had before, that we were preempted by state law. And if we're not, then the people didn't understand the ballot language, the ballot summary. Um, the interesting thing is on the first, clearly we wrote the amendment to bypass the rights of nature aspect of it, and that skirted the preemption. And when it comes to understanding what the ballot summary was, the actual responsibility of the ballot summary is the city of Titusville. We recommended one to them. They adopted it because they didn't want to spend any time working on it or adopting the amendment at all in any way. In fact, they fought us for a year when we told them, make it your own, help save us from getting 4,000 signatures. But no, no, that wasn't the case. And so, so the first thing they did was they took us to court to prevent it from getting on the ballot. When we finally got the number of signatures, and they were just, I guess, gobsmacked, they took us into court, and the judge threw it out, saying they were attempting to take away our right to due process. We had followed every letter of the law, what was required to get on the ballot, and they wanted us to remove it without justification. And that was the first court fight. Then we spent two fights, that we won on the merits of what the law says. And now we've gone to the appeals court to say exactly the same thing. The interesting thing is that the ballot summary was supposed to be written by the city. So if we have to lose in this case for some bizarre reason, we can take it to the Supreme Court on that alone. The ballot summary was City of Titusville's responsibility. So that's kind of the way we saw it going into court. And Richard was masterful as our attorney, explaining the issues and answering the judge's points to this extent that I think it was Judge McMaxwell asked the question of, so you're asking the courts then to adjudicate the question, of when it is or isn't an issue of polluting clean water. And that is the essence of the bill, is that we want to bring it into court so that the judge can rule in equity with the best science and available answers to overrule the decisions of bad land planning ordinances and regulations that inhibit the healthy and clean flow of water. And the point of the amendment is that it should eventually, probably with more court cases, flow through all of our land development regulations. And where better science is found, it should apply. And it'll begin with getting this into our city's comprehensive plan. And from there, everything else flows south. So that's the summary that I have from the court. Was we don't have an answer yet. We don't know. It could be days, weeks, months. What's it is interesting is how social media has blown up afterwards. In particular, Sarah Stokel and a couple of her cronies have taken to social media to attack clean water, and people who are attacking her for her stance on clean water. She keeps trying to justify that she's doing this for the safety of the citizens. And there's no justification for not doing the administrative action that our own charter says they are required to do by law. And that's really what it boils down to. So I'm hopeful and that this thing will go well for us, and that the city will finally choose to adopt it. It may take getting a new city council voted in, which seems to be progressing. There's a lot of people standing up for Vicky and for Megan and for Chris to step up to our city council and change things. So I hope that works out. I'll be back sometime mid-October, and hopefully I can help them campaign a little bit. But
Cool.
that's the news from the clean waterfront right now.
Mike,
Thank you, Mike.
Mike, do you know the number of I'm sorry, my phone's going. Do you know the number of how much it's cost the taxpayers up to this point to take clean water to court by Titusville Council?
Not including attorney fees and court costs for this defense. They spent $165,000.
Okay.
And then they've got to pay for the attorney to do this defense and travel and whatever, expenses they have.
Okay.
We are on our side, we've spent we owe Richard $35,000. Now we've had a lot of donations that have covered a lot of it, but we still owe him thousands. So
yeah, and he's doing it for less than he usually charges, right?
yes, yeah. But we had to pay him like $5,000 up front to study the law, and he would make his own determination as to whether or not it was justified before he would agree to even take the case. Okay. And so he did, and we got him together with Mel and I guess Judy, and they came up with not only this defense, but also contributed to the state some subtle changes to the state amendment that Richard found in defending ours that will strengthen the state amendment, such as adding the opposite, whether you do this or whether you don't do this, whether you plan or lack to plan, it's still on their shoulders to keep the water clean. And so in the state amendment, it too will hopefully flow through all of the regulations, probably not without a fight. But once those fights happen, see, cities and counties don't do anything unless the courts tell them to. Otherwise, they're free to operate almost any way they want. And that's what our city in Titusville has been doing. They've been, my estimation, operating so close to the line, I think they're stepping over it.